Hi, my name is Dave Bodie for Tuts Plus, and thanks so much for checking out this tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to be checking out one more example of using damage in a composition. And in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to create percussion parts on the fly. So I'm going to show you how we can use some of the more interesting kits and sounds that Heaviosity's damage library for Kontakt has to offer. So what I have going on here is this pretty short music idea here. This video is going to differ from the other videos in this damage series because we're going to be using more of the electronic industrial sounds, the more quote-unquote damaged percussion stuff that damage has to offer. So let me play you this little track and then we'll get to work. So I'm here in Reaper, and let me just break down what you're seeing here, all right? So up here we have some synths. These are all being driven by some virtual synths, mostly absynth from Native Instruments. So we have a couple of absynth layers here doing some pads, some rhythmic stuff. Then right here I have a reactor prism instrument here, and the rest of the tracks here are all Kontakt stuff. And over in Kontakt, this is my Kontakt instance. I have 16 instruments here, and basically the only two that I'm really using, well, I have 3 kind of loaded up here, well, maybe 4. So I have this kind of disco bass thing. This is part of the Retro Machines Mark II collection, and I've kind of tweaked up this patch, added a little arpeggiating. That's the kind of rhythmic bass thing that you're hearing. And then I have a few more. I have this guy right here, which is kind of a computer type sound. And then I have this other bass here reserved for adding a little bit of bass line once we get the drums kind of dialed in here. I don't know exactly what kind of rhythmic thing that we're going to do with the drums, but I know that once we get something in there, we're probably going to need a little bit more in the bass department. All right, so let's get to actually using damage. So down here, I've already labeled some damage patches, but in Kontakt, I don't have any instruments. So we're going to go through the whole thing. We're going to go through auditioning them, you know, trying to find some patches that fit, and then we're going to start laying down some stuff. So I'm just going to record enable a track here, and then we're going to replace that. We're going to scroll down here. There we go, damage. And let's go to damage kits. And then in here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab one of these, maybe percussion bad A crunch kit, and throw it in here. Now if I click on this guy, you can see the kind of key mapping that we're dealing with. So we have some key switches up here for the trigger effects. These keys right here represent the sounds in this patch, and then this little TV gives us a little waveform of what's going on here. Just want to make sure that my audio return on this guy, turn up a little bit so you can hear what's up. So we have some kicks, we have some snares. We have some effects here. What I'm feeling for this first one is maybe we want some more kind of percussion stuff, and we'll save some of the kit stuff for later. So maybe we'll look in this patch here. All right, let's go with that. See what we can do here. What I'm looking for basically is is kind of high frequency, short stuff. And I'm going to layer that in with something that's pretty busy. I'm just going to lay something down. So most of that is pretty terrible, but I do like the last little bit there, so. So I like this stuff right there. Everything else I don't like. I'm just gonna delete it because it's I wasn't in my groove yet, but I do like this last stuff here. I think this is pretty cool. And quantize that. And I'm going to do 16th notes. I'm going to quantize that again, and then I'm going to just change the note lengths. And I'm going to do 16th notes because I have the grid set to 1/8 notes, but I want these all to be 1/16 note long so that it just makes sense in my brain. Cool. And I think I like a 4-measure pattern here. I think that sounds pretty cool, although it's pretty similar. I don't want anything too sticking out here in terms of dynamics. Now I want some pretty fast stuff in here too. I want some 30-second notes. Boom. So I gotta find one of these. Yeah, maybe these two guys are here. Right here, and then I need some. Maybe do something like this. See if that works. It's close. These two sounds might work. Yeah, I like that. I think that's cool. And I'll get rid of this guy. And then I don't like that there. I think that's kind of making those 30-second notes a little bit more muddy. There we go. Oh yeah, now we're talking. So we're gonna start this in the beginning here. Whoa, we want this on the right thing. So I think it comes in on measure 2. I'm just gonna throw a marker here so I can see what the hee-haw is going on. Now already, you know, that's not gonna work, right? Because it's just not. It's way too much. It's way too loud, for one. We need to give this a lo-fi thing. It's just the way it has to be. Low pass here, boom, like this. Something like this. Yes, that's it right there. It's just gotta be really light. And this can probably happen a couple of times here, so let me just scooch this. Because we're building in layers, right? That's what we want to do. I like that. I like this. Very subtle. I mean, it's way in the background, and that's totally cool. Excellent, excellent. All right, so that's Crumble Kit. Just gonna label this here. Crumble Kit. Now what we want to do is maybe add something on top of it. I don't really know what. We're gonna just experiment here. So we're gonna record enable another track here. Bada boom. Well, let's throw something else in here. These are, by the way, these are just some placeholders, just some synthy kits here from Stock Contact. Let's try something like, I want to use this industrial decimator kit. And what I want to do is I want to lay down the main kind of kick and snare parts here. Because what I want to do is I want to bring the kick and snare in kind of slow, and then as this builds, I'm going to kind of build that up a little bit so we have more of kind of an eighth note driving kick. Do 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 gotch, gotch, that kind of thing. But I want to start it kind of slow, a little bit more sparse. Doons, ka, doons, ka, doon, that kind of thing. So I got the industrial decimator kit here loaded up. Which, now that I have it loaded up, I don't think that's the right one. I'm looking for a kick and snare that has to resemble a kick and snare. And this sounds a little bit too decimated maybe. But I am looking for that kind of crunchy industrial sound. That's it right there. Probably right around here, which is I think 8 measures in. I think I want it to come in right here. I'm just gonna throw another marker in here. Maybe I'll start it early, and then if it doesn't work, you know, we'll just delete it. So I'm just gonna record enable and just see what happens. Cool. And you heard some kind of weird stuff going on there. That's because I have a compressor that ducks the audio here every time it hears a noise. So if we're listening to this and you hear something in the microphone, it ducks the mix. And that way I can talk over the mix if I need to. So I'm just going to quantize this. I think I can do eighth notes. It's pretty close. And I intentionally left the beginning very sparse because we want to fill it in with some other jaggy type sounds. I do want to label this. So this is bad a crunch kit, and you can figure out what that is supposed to be. You can see I have this bass here reserved. So that when this comes in, we can do, you know, something like that. But we'll leave the bass. And let's get to some more damage stuff. All right, so let's jump back here to Contact, record, enable another track. Yeah, that'll work. Let's do some of that. So probably I can come in somewhere right here, measure 4. Yeah, let's try that. I don't know, something like that, and quantize it to 16ths. And what I'm thinking is probably this layer is gonna need some effects to make those rhythms work. Probably some delay. Let's check that out. Maybe some distortion. Let's try that. Not reverb, that was way too much. And then maybe some trigger effects we can just leave on, I don't know. Something like that might work. Let's see how that sounds with the rest of the percussion stuff. It all sounds a little bit like a mess right now. Let's say probably would take this off. And I'm also going to turn that down 6 decibels here. Just reset it by control clicking. And that's probably a good place to be at this point. We'll dial in the rhythmic stuff. Just want to label it here because I do want to add some of the bigger, nastier sounds in here, and I don't want to get this dialed in right away. What I want to do is add some of the bigger sounds and then work these around it. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to jump back here and I want to add another layer of damage. And this time I want to check out some of the big damage hits, which is going to be down here, and hybrid FX hits. So here we find a whole bunch of different hits. We have hits with mod wheel tails. And these have some mod wheel tails, which basically means that after you use the hit, we can push up the mod wheel and fade in and out these tails. And then we have damage impacts, and then we have just the tails. You know, if we like the way that these kind of have a little bit of release, so after we let go of the keys, they kind of fade off. If we want it to be more dramatic, we can just pull down the release. And now when we release the key, it'll just cut right off, which is pretty cool. So we can kind of use that as kind of a swell going into where the drums come in here. Yeah, that might work. Let's try that. Some of those worked. Sort out which ones worked and which ones didn't. Let's, I'm gonna just quantize those up a little bit. I think this first one worked pretty well. Now that might work, maybe chopped up a little bit more. Something like that. Quarter note. Oh, I like that. Let's do that. I like that. That would be pretty cool on beats 3 and 4. Especially if we go back here and we throw a trigger effect on that. And probably the glitcher, which is E6. So let's find E6 here, which actually may be E7 because of the weird way that Contact and Reaper play with their MIDI notes. They don't line up exactly. So they're usually an octave off. So we're going to try and trigger that right here. It's kind of hard to see. I'm going to make a little bit more room here. I want that trigger effect to come right here. And let's try this pattern. Maybe along with the glitcher, we use an amp envelope, which I think we want to use B6 for that. So let me pull this up here. And actually we probably want B7 because of, again, the weird thing. Let's see if that's doing that. Oh, that's cool. Maybe get a little more juice out of this. All right, let's try that again. Well, let's try it without the glitch. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. That's what I was going for. The glitch, for whatever reason, wasn't doing it. That's what we're going for. Trying to build that cool sounding, broken up stuff. Cool. Now let's use that same idea. Let's just get rid of this other crap here. Let's keep this stuff going because I like that. So that comes in on beat 3 and 4. I like that. There we go. Oh yeah, we do have other stuff in there. Let's get rid of that. I like this. That's pretty cool. And I think probably what we can do is maybe use a different amp sequencer. I believe that A6 is the one that selects. Oh, no. That's not right. Oh, I'm sorry. It's D8. That's really confusing. But it's D8. I don't know why, but that's what it is. And all I did to figure that out was I just kind of moved this guy up and down. You can see here, bloop, 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 bloop. And I guess that's, so that's what I want for there. Then what I'll do is I will just draw that over these guys right here because I want a different pattern. When we have this other noise in here, right here, I want this glitchy thing right here. So actually I can take this and, because I do like this thing that it's doing here. But what I don't like is I don't like the full dropout that it's doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reprogram this to be very similar. Somehow I got this goofed up. That should be D8. There we go. And maybe we'll do... Cool. That sounds cool. I like that. Let's keep that going. And then for these guys, we'll just scooch these over just like that, and that should be right. Let's check that out. I like that. That sounds pretty neat. Let's hear how it sounds with all the other jazz in there. Cool. All right, now we just need to do some cleanup of that other stuff in there because some of it's just out of control. It's mostly this guy right here. And I think I like that right there. just that much. So that's what I want. I want just that, which starts on, let's see, beat 3, the end of 3. So when the drums come in here, let's make this 8th notes. 2, 3, and right there. Cool. Then I'll copy that, paste this on the end of 3. There we go. Let's add some bass now that we know. Cool, that can work. I'll just quantize that up a little bit, 8th notes. Actually, 16ths probably. No end, good, because I want these short. Bum, 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 bum. I'm just gonna go through and clean this stuff up really quick. Cool. And that bass is a little bit loud. For a really easy way to just add some extra intensity, what we can do is we can add some of these pre-made loops really quickly, something like epic tech elements. Let's try the 3rd one, because I don't want too busy. I just want a little bit. So I'll just drop a couple of these in there. Let's find a couple of these. All right, I like some of that. I think I like the beginning part. Just quantize this up a little bit. Now there is something weird going on between this and I think maybe this. Let's see. Yeah, right there. I don't know what that is. Let's look at what's going on in the loop, because there may be some weird stuff in the loop. Yeah, I think it's like a 4 or 2 measure loop. Yeah, I think it's okay. You know what would be cool is to have another one of these guys as it pushed into maybe those guys are just too loud, maybe. We definitely need a different loop here when it kicks in. I like that. I like the first part of that. Let's switch just to quarter notes. I only like the first two measures of it. The second two measures, it gets a little bit too syncopated, so just do like that. Maybe we can layer something on top of this. Yeah, that might work. And then that with cool. Maybe just a little punch. That might be cool. Let's try that. I'm also feeling like we probably can bring up... Ah, I see. We stopped this, but I feel like we can probably have this going throughout. And then right here... we can probably do a volume automation and probably bring it up so that we do a little crescendo here in the last two measures. And then also, we'll get in here and we'll do high frequency, low frequency. And then we'll take the high frequency here and we'll bring that right up. Oh, that was a low frequency. Take the high frequency, bring that up. And that might be a cool little sweep here. And then one more thing that I'm feeling in here is I think we could probably use some mega hits. Maybe every two measures. So let's jump down here, go into percussive, this one right here, damage hit impacts, and I want that down here. Something with a good high clang, maybe. That might work. Yeah, I like that. So let me jump back here. And I'll just manually throw this in here. And then where's this last? It's right here. Right there, we need one. We also need kind of a sweep in here. That kind of thing. Ooh, you know what? Probably, let me just glue these together. I'm feeling like we need another one here. Maybe that one. Let's try that. Yeah, let's try that. And now I think it needs just a hair of mixing. I mean, obviously. So these damage guys start, let's see. Kick and snare. I think maybe do something like this. Probably pull those guys down. Maybe even that's better. Hang on, I can't stand all gray. Can't believe I've put up with this for this long. I need to set this to random colors. No. I need to select all and then select random colors. Track colors, random colors. There we go. Man, it just bugs me that everything's gray. It's so boring. So where were we? Here. Cool. I think that sounds great. The only thing we need is a little volume automation here for that guy. I think the rest of it sounds really good. What I want to do is I'm going to add one more. I'm going to put a towel noisemaker. And somewhere in here, there's just like a sine wave bass. That right there. So I did a little bit more kind of dynamic mixing here on this kick and the snare stuff. And I added a few mastering plugins here, a little multiband compressor, little compressor, and this mastering limiter compressor, peak limiter, high frequency limiter, clipper, and master protection brick wall limiter, just to bump everything up a little bit. Once I did that, it changed how some of the percussion kind of was translating in the mix. And one thing that I thought that this could use is a few more kind of sweeps leading up to some of the snares on beats 2 and 4. So I'm going to load up one more damage here, and I'm going to use one of the same instruments here that I've already used, and I have it loaded up here. I'm going to use the damage hit tails again. You can see I already have it down here. And what I'm looking for is this kind of sweep action. All right, I found one that I kind of like, and I've adjusted the release and the attack. So normally these are kind of like this by default. In fact, I'll reload it so you can hear how it sounds by default. And so this is the default thing, and this is what I'm looking for right here. I'm looking for that. But I don't want that to have that kind of sustained release. So I'm going to pull down the release here to something like that. I'm also going to push up the attack just to give me a little bit of swell. The other thing that I want is, I do want some kind of release, kind of hangover, but I don't want this. What I'm looking for is kind of some reverb. So I'm going to punch out some reverb. That's pretty good. I think I want some delay on here, but probably quarter note delay, which is 4 16th notes. Maybe turn down the feedback. Cool. Now let's see how this is going to work here. I think I can start here, and I'm going to keep them kind of low. And then a little bit louder. I think that's what was missing for me. I'm just going to quantize these puppies up to quarter notes. Just make sure. I'll get these guys. I want them in there in the beginning. Maybe I'll put one right here. Oh, I see. It goes before beat 1 there. There we go. I want them kind of low. So that's the feeling that we're going for. I'm also feeling like these other tails here, those are just a hair too loud. And I think what I can do is just bring down the velocity of these guys by quite a bit. No, I can't hear them. Yeah, I want them in there, but very subtle. And I don't care if they're loud over here, because that's when everything gets crazy. So let's check out what we have all together. You know what? I changed my mind about this loop thing because it is actually bugging me now. I don't like the last part of it. It's kind of a 4-measure thing, and I don't like the last part. So maybe what I'll do is I'll take this and I'll just use that much of it. Cool. So now it's only a 2-measure thing. And I think that will work better because the last part of it had some kind of flams and some things that the timing I was just not really feeling. So let's check that out. Hopefully in these 3 tutorials, you've been able to see some of the cool ways you can use damage to spice up your mixes and to create some really cool percussion beds and textures for your pieces of music. Thanks so much for checking out this video. Again, my name is Dave Bodie for Tuts Plus, and we'll see you around. Thanks for watching.